Okay, we're going to talk to Nate Dreiling. 60 days before the Aggies' first game against Robert Morris, Nate Dreiling became the interim coach at Utah State. Obviously, real busy time. What normally is a busy time, but this is a little different.
Yeah, Craig, thanks for having me. It's been a whirlwind, right? Not just for the coaches, but for the players, obviously, especially. So, what normally is vacation and heading to Disneyland is now roll your sleeves up and get boots on the ground in Logan and make sure we get these players what they need to be successful.
You came here to be the defensive coordinator. You're the interim coach. I assume you're still the defensive coordinator.
So that's exactly right. The goals of what I wanted to accomplish has not changed. We need to improve this defense drastically, right, to get back to our goal of winning a Mountain West championship. Offense has always been unbelievable here. So now, just as the head coach, I'm going to continue the DC role, and then as a head coach, make sure I stay away out of the offense, right? Give them the resources they need, but that's been the bread and butter of this program, so they can lead the way, and defense will get caught up and make sure we play fundamental football and sound football on all aspects.
Those people who don't know it, Pittsburgh State plays great football. You're an alum of that school, but so is Chuck Shelton. Back in the 80s and 90s, he was our head coach. So we got two gorillas that have come through Utah State. What a plus.
If I can get as many wins as Coach Shelton, then it'll be a very good time for Utah State. No, it's just like this program. It's a very tight-knit community and an alumni association that stays close and is very proud of what they've done. So hopefully we can have continued success here like Chuck did.
What were your first steps when everything changed with the team and so forth? What did you do?
Well, I bought a flight back home. I was in Dublin, Ireland, so we booked the first flight out of there to get back to Logan. But ultimately, it was get on the phone with the players, right? They need to know how we're going to handle this situation. They need to know that leadership-wise we have a plan in place for them, and getting in front of them, communicating with them. I met with every single player on offense and special teams the last 3 days, and I'll continue to do that with the defense. So it's just making sure they understand that, one, we're here for them, two, we're going to listen to understand what they need, and the only thing we're going to change is what they think is going to help make this program better.
All of that happened was last week. That was way after spring football. Tell us about spring football, your first here, working with your defense. What did you see?
The foundation was being laid. That's what I tell my defense when I first met with them. I asked them what their favorite scheme is and all that, and they shouted out a bunch of different answers. But ultimately I told them if there was a best scheme, everyone in the country would run it. So what we do is not focus on the what, but the how. All right, so we focus on the little details, the fundamentals, and techniques, and that's what spring ball's for, right? To create the foundation you have to be successful down the road.
We were talking offense with Spencer Petrus, who was here at the media day, and he's really confident in what's going on that side of the ball and the guys around him, and feels very good about what's going on at Utah State in his first and only year.
Yeah, the one thing about Spencer, he's very mature, right? He's almost older than me, so that's a plus. But he's been around the block. He's got 29 starts in the Big Ten. He'll have one of the biggest arms in all of college football, and even more importantly, he has players around him that can go get the ball. So he is going to become quickly a fan favorite for everyone in Maverick Stadium, and they're going to be excited to not only see his arm strength, but to see how tough he is and how unbelievable leader he is.
Tell us about the guys that are going to really make plays for you on defense.
Yeah. Defensively, you'll start with Ike Larson, the hometown kid, who is beloved by everyone because how he wears him and how he carries himself, right? He's going to do whatever it takes to help his team win, and he is really going to shine in our defensive scheme. Next to him is going to be Jordan Vincent, who I brought with me from New Mexico State, a safety as well, who's a phenomenal player and an unbelievable kid. And then you look at the rest of the board, right? You look at the corner room with Avante Dickerson, who the Oregon transfer, who had an unbelievable season last year. J.D. Drew, who had a phenomenal spring at that corner spot. Linebackers is going to be a linebacker by committee. We got a couple new faces as far as John Ross May, who was one of the best Division II linebackers in the country last year, transferred in. Clyde Washington, who played over 300 snaps for the University of Purdue. So it's a bunch of faces, as well as Max and Bryce and Bronson, some players that have a lot of snaps. So that'll be room as far as depth-wise we feel great about. And then ultimately the D-line, you see Blaine Spires, the defensive end, who should be the best pass rusher in this conference, right? That's his goal, and that's reachable if he wants to keep pushing and working as hard as he is. You have Gabriel Iniguez on the inside, as well as a handful of others. So we have the pieces in place, and even more importantly, we have the depth we feel like to make a run at this thing.
Who are the guys that will be surrounding Petrus that he was talking about?
Yeah, you obviously start with Jalen Royals, right? He's one of the best receivers, not in the Mountain West, but in the country. So I already figured out when I'm calling plays versus the offense and the ball's in the air, I'm going to run to the offensive side so I can start clapping, because you can't cover the guy. He makes every single catch. He's been phenomenal, but with him, right, how can we build around that? You have Micah Davis in the slot. Micah Davis, the slot receiver, is going to have a breakout year. Started at Air Force, went to JUCO, then ended up at Utah State. You want to talk about battling for adversity, right? That's the toughness that we're talking about. You get to the running back room, and you got Briggs, and you got Razul, some players, right, that were a huge part of this thing last year. That stats are only going to go up because how good the receiving core is. And then I'd feel bad if I didn't mention Sturzer and Brock Lane at the tight end spot. I feel like offensively, as far as skills, right, they should be one of the best in the conference. And the O-line is going to be the heartbeat of this program, right? It always has been. So if we get all the pieces in place, right, to go make a run.
Last thing, and I didn't ask this before, but who are the other people in the quarterback room?
Yeah, let's start with one of my favorite kids on the team, Bryson. So he started at Utah every single game last year, right? And he came in, and this kid is awesome. He is so tough. He is so fun to be around, right? So yes, Spencer is our starter, right? And we know that moving forward. But I have all the faith in Bryson when if his time does get called, right, to step into that role. Here's what you need to win football games: a good defense and tough quarterback. And I feel like we have the two of the toughest in the conference.
Coach, we're looking forward to it. Good luck to you and your guys.
Craig, thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to it.